Hello and welcome to a new series which I'm calling Anyone Can Play Dark Souls 3. If you're familiar with the channel, you will have seen my Anyone Can Play Dark Souls 2 series. This is a lot like that series with one key difference. I have not finished Dark Souls 3 personally, so it may be a lie, but the series' intent is to explore the mystery of Dark Souls and try and roll it back a little bit. It's a game that a lot more people could enjoy than are presently enjoying, and I want to demonstrate that. And the way I'm going to do that is by showing that any idiot can do it, and by being that same idiot. I've had a litany of hardware problems, but we're going to ignore them because we've solved them, and we're going to start a new game. So I leave you now to enjoy the opening cutscene.
Yes, indeed. It is called Lothric, where the transitory lands of the Lords of Cinder converge. In venturing north, the pilgrims discover the truth of the old words. The fire fades, and the lords go without thrones. When the link of fire is threatened, the bell tolls, unearthing the old lords of Cinder from their graves. Aldrich, saint of the deep, Farron's undead legion, the Abyss Watchers. And the reclusive lord of the profaned capital. Yon the giant. Only in truth, the lords will abandon their thrones. And the unkindled will rise. Nameless, accursed undead, unfit even to be cinder. And so it is that ash seeketh embers.
I think that's all pretty clear, and all very Dark Souls-y. I don't know what it means, and as with previous series, I'm not really gonna do a great job of explaining what it means. Because I don't know. I'm not being cute, I genuinely have no idea. So, I have a very, very surface level understanding. My microphone is being weird. And it centers around... We need someone to link the fire, which is basically join their soul with the soul of fire, basically, to keep the universe running. And someone doesn't want to do that. Ugh. That's very yellow and odd. Does anyone look like a human? Okay, northern... Was that... Yeah, I'm from the north. I'm Northern Warrior. That's me all over. And I'm also burly. Yep, that'll do me. I'm going this guy because he's kind of a good all-rounder. We can talk a little bit more about the, the finer details of why I've chosen this character. But yeah, in terms of lore, go and watch Vati video. I'll put his link will be in all the video descriptions. He makes great content, great lore discussion. He's a very easy to listen to guy, and he's great. And the lore's a mess, and it really does need someone to purge it and pass it. I mean, purge it. Like it's, so many toxins from a new age body. I don't know. Anyway, we're getting started. This is us as unkindled ash in the Cemetery of Ash. And immediately, this game plays differently to Dark Souls 2, and obviously Dark Souls 1. In this game, you are extremely light and floaty. Enemy. Everything's much quicker. It uses a lot less stamina than it would have done in Dark Souls 2. And it's just generally a much faster paced game. The enemies are more aggressive, the bosses so much more aggressive, they give you so little time to recover. It just plays very, very differently. And obviously between making Dark Souls 2 and making Dark Souls 3, a little bit of stutter there, From Software made Bloodborne, a very fast paced Souls-like game. I mean, lots of people, there's a lot of discussion online about, is it a Souls game? I'm like, well, it's not called Souls, but in every other way, apart from setting, it's a Souls game as far as I'm concerned. But it's very fast paced. You don't get shields. There's a much heavier focus on parrying, in that there is a focus on it. So yeah, this game exists in reflection of that one and of Dark Souls 1 and 2, which I guess exist in reflection, of Demon's Souls. So difficult to say, Demon's Souls. Because it's plural, it's not like Dark Souls. It's Demon's Souls. Souls. Sound like a preacher there. To repent of your sins. That's how all preachers speak, obviously. Okay, so over here we have a crystal lizard. We all remember them, the little tiny harmless things that we mercilessly murder to get their delicious innards. Because those delicious innards can be used to augment our weapons. I don't feel like fighting his big, great granddad brother thing. That's a strange mix of metaphors there, but in any case, I ain't fighting him. I will fight him later, and I will fight another one of him later. But for right now, he will ruin me. So coming back to the tech issues I've been having. This game, well, Dark Souls is always a pig to capture. Dark Souls 2 gets very, very fussy about stuff being full screen at the same time as it. I used to record my voice with Audition, and if that was full screen and you exited Dark Souls 2, it no longer recognized that Audition existed. You know, it just, it was there, but you couldn't click on it, you couldn't minimize it. And the same with, things like Steam that you have to have running, so they're both, that didn't go very well. That you have to have running, but you have them in, like, windowed mode. So that was annoying until I figured out that. With this one, and I've come to realize this isn't Dark Souls 3's fault, but it was the first game to do it, so therefore I blame it entirely. The sound wouldn't record properly. It was all like stuttery and clipped when it got kind of above like minus 20 decibels. So I'm like, okay. So I've switched to recording software, I've switched to OBS, which it's too late to really commend it, but it's certainly a much more powerful piece of software than I was using. I was using the native recording software that came with my graphics card, because the performance impact was essentially zero, and it created footage that was lossy, but not lossy enough that it would matter when you upload a video to YouTube, and it is ruined anyway. So on OBS, which is good, because I do intend to start streaming, and it's a much better platform for streaming on, and gives you much more control over the way in which your game is encoded, and the speed at which it's encoded, because that affects quality quite a lot. So I think it's a much more versatile piece of software. So overall, I'm not mad, but I am quite mad because I'm now 2 days behind where I want it to be because of technical issues. But you know, these things happen. And overall, it will save me time because I used to have to capture audio and video software separately with different software and then sync them. That was annoying, whereas this captures it all in one file. And but as different tracks, so I can export the voice track to Audition to like normalize it and stuff. And I can just bring it straight back. I'm using Adobe Creative Cloud, and it works really, really well between software. So between After Effects, Premiere, and Audition is great. The integration is brilliant. Okay, so we're going to fight our first boss here. Iudex Gundyr. And because of all these technical issues, I fought this guy about 5 times in the last 24 hours. As you can see, I've learnt literally nothing. The first time went extremely well, the second time went less well, the third time went about as well as the second time. Now we're here, where I don't think we'll die. Does this little transformation bit, and we continue to go ham on him. Okay. I suspect that will maybe could one-shot me. He can be staggered. Oh, I got bitten by the demon snake. I've always called him Iudex, like thinking that I was a J, but it's not. It's Iudex, which is a word that I don't understand what it means. So he's dead. That's not a very difficult boss. I made it look a lot more difficult than it actually is. But anyone can do that. So our tried and true mantra of anyone can play Dark Souls 3 remains true for the time being. Anyone can do that. That's just dodging when someone goes to attack you. There's a very, very long telegraph and all his attacks. I played like trash, and here we are. I made it through. So we progress on. The game doesn't do a lot to teach you. It does little things. Like this might still be a tutorial thing. Yeah, telling you that's how you open the menu. There's the menu. Isn't that exciting? But figuring out like the meta game and how what weapons are good and what weapon infusions are good, that's all you. You know, you have complete autonomy to make those decisions. And a lot of that is why people get put off by Dark Souls, I feel. Is there's no handhold. Well, there's very, very, very little handholding. You know, it's better now than it used to be, but okay, let's look at equipment. So this shield, you know, it blocks 86% of physical. It doesn't say that that's percentages. If you go to help, explanations, yeah, it still doesn't explain percentages, and also the thing it never explains is stability. The stability of player's defense. The higher this value, the smaller the amount of stamina consumed when guarding attacks. That isn't 51%. That is an arbitrary number. You know, I think the highest stability you can get is 80, and at 80 you take almost no stamina damage from getting hit with a melee attack. So, if we're guarding, that's parrying, and we get hit, 86% of the damage, I think, was the number I just read, will be mitigated, but a small amount will add on to my health, and an amount of stamina will be lost. Because if you've got 100% physical block shield that we'll get in about 2 episodes, if it didn't affect your stamina, you could just block indefinitely, like in games like every Zelda apart from the most recent one, where they had a stamina bar, which is, it's a decision they made. I haven't played it, but I've read enough about it to make me very suspicious of it, shall we say. Because you start with almost no stamina, and I was like, oh, well, you can upgrade it really easily at the shrines. I'm like, yes, but you have to, like, run to those shrines, and your stamina bar literally depletes in about 2 seconds. Which is annoying. But, you know, there's things like that, and there's the weapon degradation that I don't understand the design philosophy behind it. Nice try, dog. And you killed yourself, you idiot. Ember. So I should talk about Ember. I should talk about, I missed it earlier, key differences between this and Dark Souls 2, or 1. In this we have Ashen Estus Flasks. You see in the top of the screen we have this blue bar. This is FP. What does F stand for? I don't know. The P is points, because we have HP, which is health points, or hit points, and FP. I don't know what it stands for. But it allows you to do spells and miracles, but also allows you to do the weapon arts that we saw, which is like this, which gives me a small boost to damage for a short time, which is nice. And this is Firelink Shrine, which if you played the original Dark Souls is very, very exciting, because this is a lovely bit of lip service, and as a long-term fan of the Soul series, I like lip service. Sorry, I'm just depressed because I've already done all this several times, but I had to get rid of the footage. All Souls games have something like the Crestfallen Warrior, which is this dude here, who's just a negative influence on your life, but he tells you roughly where to go and does a bit of lore exposition.
We unkindled are worthless. Can't even die right. Gives me conniptions.
I still don't know what conniptions means. I meant to look it up after I watched this cutscene the first time. Didn't. That's something you could do now if you're watching. Go and Google conniptions and put down below in the comments what it means. Please just comment. They help the algorithm greatly.
Don't you think?
So he's just kind of... He's just miserable. We don't need him in our lives. This is the Firekeeper.
Welcome to the bonfire, unkindled one. I am a firekeeper. I tend to the flame and tend to thee.
The lore about Firekeepers is explored a little bit in a room over there-ish that I can't get to yet. And it's quite sad. It's extremely sad. But I can level up with her. So I'm going to leave. I'm going to pop all my soul packets and level up. So I took the soul of a nameless soldier as a starting gift because it's basically a free level early on. But all the starting gifts appear to be rubbish. You know, in Dark Souls 1 there's the obvious correct one, which is the Master Key. But in this, they're just all a bit... meh. There's a ring that gives you slightly more health. But in the original Dark Souls, it's meant to give you 10% more health, but it only gave you 10 health. And when you have like 1,000, 10 extra health is essentially meaningless. Although, that's half of one level of vigor. So yeah, I wasn't to use up a whole ring slot. Didn't seem worth it. So I thought a few extra levels early on. A little bit more survivability. Okay, so let's talk through the stats briefly. Vigor is just health. Attunement gives you FP and attunement slots. I think if you bump it up enough, it kind of upgrades everything because your overall level goes up. Let's try and demonstrate that. Yeah, see, this all increases over here. And eventually, if you go up enough, everything increases. But mainly, it's just FP and attunement. FP is not that useful because I'm not going to do a spells build. And I will criminally underuse my weapon art. Endurance is stamina, which is how many attacks you can do, or rolls, or how much damage you can mitigate with a shield, essentially. Vitality is equipment load, how much stuff you can carry. If the amount you're carrying gets over 70% of your total equipment load, you can no longer roll well. You go into a fat roll, which gives you a lot of frames in which you're vulnerable, so you don't want that, so that you only bump this up really when you need to. Strength affects scaling with strength weapons. My weapon is a strength weapon, so I've put this up. My right-handed weapon damage goes up proportionally. Dexterity is for dexterity-based weapons. I don't believe my weapon scales with dexterity. Oh, it does, but not as well, because weapons have scalings rated S through E. S being the best, E being the worst. Intelligence affects scaling with magic weapons or sorceries. Faith is for miracles or maybe lightning weapons. I can't remember if there's lightning weapons. Or dark and pyromancy scale off the lowest of these two stats. So if one's at 50 and one's at 8, then you have 8 scaling, essentially. Luck only affects item discovery, which I don't really care about, but it's a good place to dump stats because everything else can become completely useless. Let's go 15 here. I'm using mouse and controller, which is making it really confusing. 15 there. I'm going to get a new shield relatively soon, so let's put that up to 14. Yep, that's perfect. So I was just looking at my new recording software to figure out if it tells me how long I've been recording. And it does. This is a woman that sells things. I can't bother talking to her right now, and this guy upgrades your weapons. I only have 1 Titanite shard, you need 2 to upgrade your weapons, so we're effectively done here. Everything else we'll get to in time. These are the souls that the Lord should sit on to kindle the flame. There is one, a little guy called Lothric, who later on will transmute boss souls into weapons for me. But for the minute, let's use our coiled sword to create a bonfire. Now, when From Software had nearly completed development of this game, they released footage of some of that, basically that bonfire ritual, and people started to lose their minds because it looked like it wasn't like that. He was somewhere else. It looked like he could create bonfires. I'm sure in the footage he plunged a coiled sword into like a body and it turned into a bonfire. And people were like, oh my goodness, we'll be able to create our own checkpoints, our own waypoints, like a way, basically adding quick saving. But no, it didn't happen. So that's another coiled sword around a bowl, which I think looks suspiciously like a Lord vessel, which in the first Dark Souls was a bowl into which you placed 4 Great Lord souls and it opened a door to the kiln of the first flame, took you to the final baddie. That will all be explored when the Dark Souls 1 remaster is released on PC, and I will do a full video through that. And I will try, finally, to retile the lore back in together. So here we are on the High Wall of Lothric. The real game starts here. I mean, literally, this is like the first level. Everything before this is tutorial, including Iudex. Let's leave a comment down below. Tell me what Iudex means. Because I have no idea. I forgot to reallocate my Estus, but that might be fine. Because you can... At the minute, I've got 3 Estus and 1 Ashen Estus. I won't use my Ashen Estus enough to really justify having basically any. Alright, dog, calm down. For the time being, I won't. I find it more useful to have more Estus, because the Estus is really weak in this game. Until you upgrade it, it takes probably at the minute I would need all my Estus to heal from 1 hit point to full, which is a significant step down from previous games, especially when you're going from the end of Dark Souls 2. We had an Estus, I think 11 plus 5 Estus flasks, down to having 3 garbage flasks. So that's something that I need to adapt to. This game does, because they've tweaked it, you really can wail on enemies a lot more, I find. Even with fairly heavy weapons like this one. It'd be different if I had an ultra great sword, but I find... Okay, so I need to just run and kill this guy very quickly, because he turns into an Eldritch Abomination. Or was it this guy? It was that guy. That guy turns into an Eldritch Abomination like Udex did. Let's call him Gundyr. Let's go with the one word I know I can pronounce. And I apologize if that is a word from a language you speak. Probably a I was going to say Germanic, but... Yeah, Germanic or Slavic word. I don't know. Nothing behind here. I also don't remember how to open secret doors or walls. I know this game has a lot of them. I know for sure where one is, so we will figure it out at some point, but that's probably 5 episodes away at this point. So, you know, don't hold your breath for that. Down here, and again, I know this because I've just done this in the last couple of days and lost all the footage. This is a shortcut back up that we'll come to reasonably soon. There's no real reason to go down there yet, so we'll ignore it. And we'll go the proper way. If watching these videos makes you want to play Dark Souls, if like, that is the ultimate intent, is to get more people playing Dark Souls. I would not recommend starting with Dark Souls 3, but I'm also in a difficult position in that I can't recommend Dark Souls 1 as it exists at the minute on PC, because the Prepare to Die edition is from that rather dark period of PC gaming's past, where games with Windows Live was trialed and was a a complete disaster. So it's a game that was ported from console very, very poorly. There are ways to fix it. There's a... It's not even a program, it's like a DLL injector, I think, called DS Fix, that makes it playable. But I refuse to give money to support a game that is broken. You know, when they release a remaster and it's not broken, absolutely they will receive my money. But, you know, as gamers, the only voice we have is speaking with our wallets. And most people believe in democracy and voting, and, you know, refusing to spend money on something has much more effect, in most cases, than a vote in an election does. It's when people are like, oh, I'll just buy this thing, you know, these microtransactions, it makes no difference, they're going to be there anyway. I'm like, they're only going to be there because people keep buying them. Broken-ass games keep getting released because people keep buying them. Battlefront 2, Star Wars Battlefront 2, the one released this year, last year, has had unbelievably bad days. I think they want to sell 12 million units by this point, which is early February, and they've only sold 7. And that game had such a massive consumer backlash that it might actually change something. I mean, microtransactions and loot crates aren't going anywhere. They are far too profitable. You know, Activision Blizzard announced this week that half of their revenue streams are from microtransactions. So no publicly traded company is going to say, do you know what, should we just get rid of half of our revenue? It's just not going to happen. But there are ways to monetize, like post-initial purchase, additional monetization strategies that aren't completely scummy and game-breaking, like in Battlefront 2, sorry. So, my point is, I think it's important to support the game industry when it does something you like, and to not support it when it doesn't do something you like. So, I will never, ever be playing Destiny 2. Even if it's free. I don't want my my stats. I don't want to be a statistic on there. Oh, look how successful that game is. Because that game is a train wreck when it comes to its marketing strategy and all the horrible anti-consumer practices that they do. So it's a big no thank you from me. You know, spend your money how you like, but that we all have a lot less money than we would like, and certainly than we used to, so I think there's value in being a smart consumer and not encouraging things that actively work against your interests. So this is a Boulder Knight. He's a fairly tough fight. I just realised. Maybe I don't actually need to kill him right now. I've only got one Estus flask because there's a bonfire just around the corner here. I don't know what I just stamped on, but it sounded expensive. So let's get the bonfire and then we'll go fight the Boulder Knight. How are we doing for time? 28 minutes 21. That will be slightly different from the time it displays on your video because I have stuff at the beginning I like to cut off. Like, I was going to say doing breathing exercises, but I mean breathing like an ape as I prepare to start talking. Breathing exercises is far too grandiose a term. So you know what, we'll fight the... There's no real benefit to fighting the Boulder Knight. As with any enemy in this game, all it rewards you with is souls, which is, you know, the only currency that the game has. But if it kills me, you know, was it worth the probably 500 souls that his death would gift to me? That was gift to me, not me fluffing saying give to me. I know I'm basically unable to speak, but even I can handle words like gift. Oh, you've got a friend. Alright, Stabitha. Can't... He's gonna stab me. Watch, here comes a stab. That's a slice. Backstab. You thought about it. You saw that the... ooh. And by he, I mean my character. Because I did like a longer pullback. Nice. What was that noise? It went boom. Don't even, like, maybe, I don't know. Rhythm doesn't affect, no, Neo, it's Neo where rhythm affects how much stamina you use. So I don't know what that was. I'll keep going until I find a natural breaking point. This episode's late because of all the technical difficulties, so I'll give you a little bit more. than my usual recommended half hour. So I played this yesterday and I'm like, where do I go? This is progress. Don't want to go that way. I'll go down here where Grey Rat, an NPC that we have to free, is in a cage, but I don't have the key presently. So we'll fight Mr. Halberd. Backstab. Thank you. And show you that this game has charge attacks. Which are really good. Primarily... Oh, wow. Maybe it was worth it. I don't have the 12 dexterity required. Or the 14 for the bow. I should level that up, because a little bit of dex is quite useful, especially with bows in this game that behave very differently to bows in previous games. But it's nice to have a halberd. It's a fairly... It's a weapon that's normally quite well regarded. I believe these barrels are full of gunpowder. And that's why he throws a firebomb at you, because if he hits you, it's going to blow up the whole room and probably kill you. It's what Dark Souls developers like to think is a funny joke. Mailbreaker is a weapon that does piercing damage, and I think it's quite good. I think it negates more damage proportionally than it should. Or than it feels like it should. Okay, there's not another bonfire for quite a long time. So I'm going to cut the episode there. If you liked the episode, hit that like button, leave a comment down below saying what you liked about it. If you didn't like the episode, it's a new series. I will make mistakes, and I need negative feedback to tell me what to improve. If you didn't like it, hit that dislike button, leave a comment down below saying what you didn't like about it. I'm making new content every single day, so if you want to see more, hit that subscribe button. It's been Strawman Gaming, I'm your Strawman, and I will see you tomorrow.